thank you for the compliment. And why did I turn out more product than other guys? Why did I make it look cooler? I have an advantage of being Canadian. You know, all the great, all the great comedians are Canadian, right? Jim Carrey, and you know, all the comedians are Canadian. And but in truth, it's kind of nice. I was NASA's director of operations in Russia for a couple of years, so I was in charge of all NASA ops in Russia. And because I'm Canadian, when I was over there, the Russians were like, well, he's not American, so we can trust him. And the Americans were going, well, he's not Russian, he's Canadian, that's almost American, so we can trust him. So it put me in a really nice place in the middle where I could see what was going on and try and balance things out, but also have my own agency, the Canadian Space Agency, to report to, and it gave me more slack, and maybe even more support than most people get. And I had that exact same case when I was on the space station as the commander, because I'm responsible to all the agencies of the world, but I'm not beholden to the Inspector General of the United States. I was a Canadian up there, so I could turn out some slightly outlandish product and send it to the Canadian Space Agency, and they would go, okay, we'll fight this battle. And they would take it, they'd turn out the product, and here's a classic example. I was eating a can of peanuts up on orbit, and it was just a can of Planters peanuts, and you know, I popped that little plastic lid off, and then I peeled back that little that metal kind of foil thing that's on them. I peeled it back, and it looked like it was like full of bees. And I closed it up again. I'm going, what the heck? I opened it again, and I shook it. I realized it was just the peanuts floating around inside the can, but it was just such an unexpected visual. Like I said, hey Tom, come look at this. So Tom floated over. I opened it. He went, whoa! And, you know, both look at it. Oh, it's just peanuts. So then I thought, well, if that looks really cool to Tom and to me, I bet it'll look cool to everybody. So I grabbed my iPad and took a video of it. And Tom grabbed his iPad and took a video of it. And I fired mine down to the Canadian Space Agency, and he sent his down to NASA. And NASA looked at his and said, I'm sorry, it says Planters peanuts on it. We can't use it. The Canadians said, hey, how do we get that Planters peanuts off that thing so we can use it? And so they hired a videographer, minimum wage in Canada, that's like $3 an hour or something, and they just sort of washed out the Planters peanuts thing, and Canada released it. And I don't know, 7 million people watched that clip. So it just kind of gave me a little more bureaucratic freedom, I think. And then part of it's just nature too. I mean, some people are superb mathematicians and technical people, or physical specimens, or you know, really interested. Tom Marshburn, who I was up with, brilliant guy. He has a master's in engineering physics. He's a medical doctor. He's walked from British Columbia to Mexico down the Pacific Coast Trail by himself when he was 19 and wrote a book about it. He's climbed the highest peaks all around the world. He is a good classical guitar player, speaks Russian really well, and but on orbit, his hobby was medicine, and he did some really interesting work up there, doing remote diagnostics with ultrasound, and we published a paper from orbit. You know, that's the project he was working on. And for me, ever since I was 9, I wanted to be able to share this experience. And so my whole 21 years as an astronaut, I tried my best to share the experience. And I made videos before I launched and was tweeting before I launched, but I finally kind of had both the platform and the technology to share it. And I just kind of put my heart and soul into it up there, and just the right combination of time and people.